WJR.
Well, here we are at WJR.com. Paul W. Smith, David Boyle, our co-host for the National City Roundtable. If you're keeping track, this is session number 7, and apparently we are keeping track. And we're happy to have you here with us. And David Boyle, the president of the Michigan Northwest Ohio Banking National City Corporation, Cleveland, Ohio, based right here, of course, in Detroit. David, you have picked an excellent topic and one that really matters.
Yeah, Paul, I think today's show is going to be an eye-opener for a lot of people in our community. Just the things that they'll hear today are surprised me as I started to learn about it, so I'm anxious to get this out on the air.
The topic for today, fighting hunger in our communities. And too often, too many people say, well, you know, it's a little overblown. There can't really be, with all the government programs and all the taxes we pay and all the rescue missions that you slip money to from time to time, or at least think about it. There can't be real hunger here in Detroit, here in Michigan. You're very, very wrong. And some folks are here to tell us how wrong we are and how right we can make things with very little effort. We have Susan Goodell, Executive Director of Forgotten Harvest. Established in 1990, the mission of Forgotten Harvest is to relieve hunger in the Detroit metropolitan community by rescuing prepared and perishable food and donating it to emergency food providers. Susan, it's so nice to have you here. Thank you for being with us. Rescuing food. You're talking about food that would otherwise be thrown away.
Absolutely. According to the U.S. government, 96 billion pounds of food is thrown away every year in this country. If we could rescue just 5% of that, we would have no hunger at all in America.
Let me have you repeat that again. If you could capture just 5% of the food that is just thrown away anyway, it's going to be trashed. It's garbage. If you could capture just 5% of that very good, very edible food, we'd wipe out hunger in the United States.
That's correct, Paul W. We throw away 25% of the food that we produce in this nation.
It's criminal. It's just ridiculous. It's unforgivable. And thank God for Forgotten Harvest. There is also Gleaners Community Food Bank of Southeast Michigan, the third oldest food bank in all of the United States. Gleaners Community Food Bank's mission has been to turn surplus food, which otherwise would go to waste, into millions of delicious meals for hungry people in southeastern Michigan. For more than a quarter of a century, they've been nourishing communities by feeding the hungry people, and since 1977, Gleaners Community Food Bank has grown from distributing just 1 or 2 million pounds of food a year, which sounds like a lot, to nearly 25 million pounds and growing annually. That's equivalent to over 65,000 meals per day. And we're happy to have the president of Gleaners, DeWayne Wells, with us. DeWayne, nice to see you.
Good morning. Nice to be here.
You guys aren't competing with each other. You work together, I would hope, because it sounds like you do very similar things.
Absolutely. I mean, the issue of hunger is no place for competition, and we work, I think our missions and our programs support each other, and we work together very well to make sure that hungry neighbors here in southeastern Michigan have access to the food that they need.
What would be the differences, Susan Goodell, from Forgotten Harvest and Gleaners?
Well, Forgotten Harvest is a food rescue operation. We run a fleet of 17 trucks that are on the road every day, Monday through Saturday, rescuing perishable food that otherwise would be ending up in a landfill. It's a very different model. We deliver the food free of charge to the agencies, and we do not store that food in any way. So what the agencies receive on a given day from us is what we are lucky enough to receive from the grocers and the dairies and the farmers and the restaurants, which is a very different model from that of Gleaners. And
Yeah, and I think the most striking difference is if you walk through our facilities, as I was just at Forgotten Harvest a couple of weeks ago, there, because of their dealing in more perishable product, the key is to get it out. So logistics are a very big part. And it's a key part of what we do too. But if you walk through our locations, you'll see deposits of food. We deal a majority in non-perishable, so canned goods, items that have come in, typically collected during food drives, et cetera, that are stored and then ordered and distributed to our partner agencies.
All right, so two different ends of the food chain, if you will.
Exactly.
What you grab a hold of at Forgotten Harvest is food that's prepared and maybe leaving restaurants and places like that.
Exactly. The average life of the food we rescue is about 3 days, so it's very fast turnaround.
Mm-hmm. And for you, my co-host David Boyle, supporting programs that fulfill basic human needs, obviously, from what I know of you, is a priority for you. Food is obviously one of the basic needs that doesn't get the attention like, well, if we complain about gas prices or we hear about job losses and foreclosures and all of that. Talk a little bit about, David, maybe from a personal and bank's perspective, why this is so important to you.
Well, my perspective personally is consistent with the company's perspective in that, Paul, I believe, as does the company, that the communities we live in are more than deserving of our support, and I believe that as well. And something as basic as just providing food to a family is, I don't want to say it's a responsibility, but in the case where we have excess and we have things that are going to be thrown away and we have maybe more than we need, we have an overrun of something that's actually non-perishable. For us and for me to work with and support these two organizations that actually take this excess, put it somewhere that it can be useful, is an absolute basic need in the community. And National City supports both these organizations. I serve on the board at Forgotten Harvest. It's one of those things that, boy, it really makes you feel good personally and corporately to know that you're making a difference. And if we could get a little more help for both these organizations, just an incremental lift of some sort, think of the impact to the people that are not eating today. It could be tremendous, Paul.
Susan, of Forgotten Harvest, DeWayne of Gleaners, how could we offer a little more help as individuals? What is it that you're looking for us, for we, the average people, to do? I'll start with you, Susan.
Certainly, we love volunteers, and we appreciate every dollar that's donated to us. So as an individual, people are welcome to ride on our trucks. Again, we have 17 trucks in our fleet that are on the road every day, and we ask to have a volunteer on each truck every day helping us to collect that food and distribute it to where it's needed most. In addition, we are hoping through this program that we might be able to ask your listeners to donate to Forgotten Harvest, and it's very easy to do on our website, which is www.forgottenharvest.org. And every dollar donated today will provide 6 meals in the community.
Every dollar?
Every dollar.
Wow. And your biggest expense, I suppose, would be the gas or diesel running those trucks.
Diesel is killing us right now.
Yeah.
But even though the cost of fuel is going up, we're still very cost effective. 95 cents of every dollar goes directly to the food program, and we're able to, again, provide 6 meals for every dollar raised.
And DeWayne?
Similarly, we have 5 distribution centers over our 5-county service area here in southeastern Michigan that are open and happy to welcome volunteers, individuals, families, businesses that would want to come help out. Certainly, the financial contributions go a long way towards helping us cover some of the increasing costs that we have. And we also have a couple of events coming up where people can help support the organization. On September 14th, we'll have our 2nd annual Duck Derby on Belle Isle. So folks can adopt a duck that will be floated in the canal there on Belle Isle and raise money and awareness against childhood hunger. And then on September 25th, we have our Vine and Dine program that's sponsored by the Birmingham Bloomfield Chamber of Commerce that's going to be at the Cranbrook Institute of Science. So a number of ways, through events, through volunteering, through financial support, organizing food drives in their community, their schools, their community groups, et cetera. There's a number of ways people can be involved.